welcome to CIO News. I am Afreen Khan, your host for the broadcast and the head of operations at CIO News. This is our exclusive fireside chat and an interview series on the topic of digital evolution of India's financial sector. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website cionews.co.in and CIO News LinkedIn handle. Let's dive in and introducing my guest for today with a lot of excitement, Mr. Hemant Agrawal, who is the head of operations and technology at Bandhan Asset Management Company Limited. He has been in the asset management industry for more than 2 decades and is a veteran in the technology space. Welcome, Mr. Agrawal.
Thank you. Thank you, Afrin. Thank you for inviting me.
Glad to have you, sir.
Yeah.
I also have along with me Mr. Ashish Karunakaran, who is a Vice President Financial Services Cloud. Mr. Karunakaran has hands-on experience in IT leadership, IT strategy, technology-driven business transformation, product development, IT operations management, and IT infrastructure management. He possesses diversified experience in healthcare technologies, health insurance, and banking. Welcome, Ashish.
Thank you.
Great. So, Mr. Agrawal, I'd like to first address you. And when we talk about asset management, when we talk about the mutual fund industry, we know that it is actually growing at a very, very rapid speed post-pandemic, and especially in the areas of customer experience and technology adoption. So, how is Bandhan AMC adapting and strategizing its technology landscape to meet these changes and growing customer expectations?
Digital is a evolution stage. Basically, it will keep on evolving. We started our digital journey around 5 years back, and when we had a digital initiative launched, and since then we have been continuously constantly working towards new features, new facilities to the customer to give new experience, better experiences. Now we are again in the process of revamping our whole digital platform with the state-of-art technology platform, services on the cloud base. To offer a completely new different experience to our customers. It will be omni-channel experience, whether you connect on a website, on a portal, or through an app, and you can work around at your convenience. Now, operating, if you can see, in the mutual fund land space, the digital has started around 10 years back. When basically the KYC was first introduced through digital mode through Aadhaar base. And that's where things journey started, and then subsequently we have seen so many fintech platforms, transactional platforms coming up in last 5-6 years, be it Zerodha, be it Grow, ET Money, etc. So I think the journey has just begun, and we have to go through many more milestones.
Very true, very true. In fact, yes, you correctly mentioned that the digitization space. In this particular industry, it actually started with the Aadhaar coming into a picture, and everything just followed post that.
Yes.
So actually, yes, thank you for the inputs there. From on that note, Ashish, my question to you would be: when we talk about digitization, when you talk about adoption of digital infrastructure, Ashish, so based on your engagements with the BFSI industry at large, how do you see the digital evolution of this industry as a service provider? And what are some of the key trends which are shaping the adoption of digital infrastructure, particularly for the non-banking?
So, anyway, it's more than 2 decades I was in as a practitioner. Now, actually, moving into more of like a service provider point of view. This gives an opportunity to look what exactly in the industry in 2 lenses and all. So, one side, I was delivering the technology to the business, and now the service provider point of view. In both lenses, I could see a massive transition happening. And specifically, I will say that one, the post the demonetization, there is a massive transition happen, because you may have seen actually a lot of new age players started coming. And next one was actually another big thing happened was actually post-pandemic, and where you were really a question about your customer experience and the digital journeys and everything started significantly coming. So if I see from a service provider or maybe in a practitioner's point of view, digital adoption, the industry sees that as a way of doing the business, and the technology is the way of doing the business. And to look at 10 years back, you may have seen the technology was more of like a enabler or the supporting function. But now it's more of like very clearly it is a strategic differentiator, and there are born in the technology companies are transforming the entire way the business operates, right? So you may have seen actually the new age broking houses, especially the discount broking houses, and including in asset management size, the way actually and people like Grow or somebody is actually coming up. So if you look at that kind of an organization, its fundamentals lies around a few areas, right? One is, okay, how can I have a differentiated customer experience? How I can have more of like, can reduce that the operational cost or bring the operational efficiency on that. And on top of that, how I can leverage technology, specifically in the terms of data science capability or an automation capability, so that I can have a differentiated proposition. If you look at some of the traditional players, there was a tendency towards having a technology in-house or maybe like traditional technology thing and thought. But now you see that there is even a technology player's point of view. So it's a proliferation of technologies happening. You have many technology. You're not locked with anything. You have a more of like engagement model available. Who can have a subscription model. I avail certain services today and say that actually, okay, I don't need it. And even the technology life cycle is also larger. So this is something like facilitated with all the kind of service provider. Specifically, and it will be easy for any kind of an organization who is having an underlying platform is stable. And this is going to change significantly in the coming years. And it will be more of like what I could see that the business will be running, okay, every business will have certain strategies and they will keep on executing that particular thing. It is this kind of technology service providers are going to kind of facilitate this kind of transformation for the industry. And the play they are going to make is going to have a significant impact on the overall industry perspective. So that's the way I see the transformation happening. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for those inputs, Ashish. So Ashish, as you rightly mentioned, yes, there has been a lot of changes in this industry. Yes, demonetization came in, and then there was a lot of change in technology, too much of digital revolution. Yes, a lot of platforms that were introduced, and that, as we see that as technology adaptation increases, there is also an increase in the regulatory compliances regarding that. So on that note, my next question is to you, Mr. Agrawal, that in the recent past, there has been an increase in regulatory involvement in technology adoption by entities. Now, especially the recent cloud adoption framework published by SEBI. We know that how that has actually come into the picture. But so, how are you planning to create a balance between transformation and alignment with regulatory requirements?
So, first of all, most of the fund houses or in the industry players, they had the digital platform on the cloud. We have done, all the players, including us, we have met certain amount of regulations or frameworks which were more relevant before the circular. After that SEBI circular consulting paper on the cloud framework, yes, we have done a gap analysis, and there are few more items which has to be done, and which we are planning to get it done in a couple of months time frame. So but if you leave aside that overall thing in terms of adoption of cloud today, most of the services, whether it's payment aggregators or transaction execution platforms, etc., are already on cloud. Even the bank apps are also on cloud. So integrating with the third-party service providers on a cloud-based technology is very much relevant today, and people are working on that, and those are being enabled for the customer. So I would say that yes, the regulator has done a great job in terms of going such a deep thought on each and every aspect of the cloud. What are the risks associated with it, and coming up with a consulting paper on what has to be done. And it gives a lot of insight to the our team members to comply with those norms, because because it comes from the regulator, it becomes a mandate to comply with those norms. and it becomes a part of the overall review framework, etc. and all that the security framework or the access framework, etc. are in place and done, and be it DR, etc. that way.
Very true, because ultimately it's also about the business continuity. Even
Right.
even in terms of prices, or even if there's some kind of disruption somewhere, business still needs to go on.
Yes.
And an industry like this, definitely there cannot be any kind of interruption,
Yeah.
or access cannot be paused, if I have to rightly
Yes.
say.
Right. So, I mean, if you look at it, I agree with Ashish, that post, COVID, the transaction volumes on the digital platforms have, gone up manifold. Today, you can see in the industry, almost like 87% of the transactions are on the digital platforms, very digital platforms. So that shows, the complete shift from, 65% to 85%. So we have gone to the last end.
Very true. Yes.
And this is helping us in penetration to third tier cities or tier 4 cities also.
Yes, very, very rightly said, because I think that's the market which is still to be explored. And
Yes.
When we actually spoke about the digital transactions, Mr. Agrawal, yes, we see that transactions from bare minimum of say 5 rupees to the larger volumes are all done digitally now.
Yes.
Unlike how it used to happen earlier.
And
so yes, there has been a significant shift.
Yeah. So a point to add here, maybe the post-pandemic, people spend considerable amount of time in the YouTubes or other social media. So the financial literacy has increased. So that turns into more of like moving towards more of like structured product like mutual funds and the equity exposure. So that leads to kind of people adapting, and together with technical literacy, which lead to kind of people adapting more of like a digital channels. So and then they started using it. Yeah, it's very comfortable. Let them start, and after immediately the market also moved up. Right? People got a good amount of return also, right? So I think it contributed significantly to the industry.
Right.
Very, very true. In fact, on that note, when you talk about mutual funds or asset management, I think earlier there used to be multiple platforms. Nowadays, we also have aggregated platforms. You open one single portal on your phone, and you have your loans, your bank account, your mutual fund, everything out there. So that ease of use and the customer experience on that note, I think that's something that has really been focused upon.
Yes.
So on that note, Ashish, I come back to you. So how has Tata Communications enabling some of the major players in the industry in their digital evolution, and especially in the domain of cloud adoption and customer experience in particular?
Okay. So I will go back to my earlier answer for certain things. I want to kind of make a foundation for that. So industry is undergoing a transformation. When you are undergoing a transformation, fundamentally you need a strong platform to enable that particular thing. So Hemant was talking about a significant increase in the overall volume. And I have seen that particular volume, it is a 2x, 3x increases, especially for a digital transaction. That's the kind of growth it has been done. So, and also the industry need to go and consume various services available in the market, because that's available at a fraction of a cost it was there earlier. So this means that a strong foundation is required by the industry, and that is taken as granted nowadays. But I could also see that there are industries, they are struggling on this particular piece. So as a Tata Communication value proposition here is that, see, the underlying technology platform, whether you take the compute, where you need to deploy your entire application stack, the whole of your storage infrastructure, where you need to have a massive amount of information need to be, because you are actually growing data exponentially every day. And even regulators are also talking about retaining the information, log information need to be retained. And they also asking about multiple auditability capabilities and everything. So that kind of stuff. And the entire connectivity ecosystem, whether you talk to your branches, and I cannot say that actually my branch is isolated and you cannot do a transaction. The tolerance level of the customer is actually not at all there. So if I do that particular thing, they will go to the next organization, because opening an account or shifting their account is actually like not at all big deal nowadays. So then comes the question of actually like, or even the pandemic time, we also see a significant amount of cybersecurity attacks because more and more people are actually like transacting online. This also see an opportunity by some of the criminals to get into that particular area. So then there is a increase in the focus by including the regulators and the entities on the cybersecurity area. So Tata Communication value proposition here is that, see, your base underlying infrastructure, that is actually your platform for you to transform. We facilitate that particular thing. So right from your compute to your network or your storage and the managed services revolving around and the security for that particular thing, it is being well taken care of by Tata Communication, and you innovate on top of that, and we facilitate you that particular your transformation journey. So that's something like Tata Com has to talk about that. We understand the industry, so we also come up with something called as ISO Cloud, Financial Services Cloud, exclusively for the whole of the industry, saying that actually, okay, I understand you have a stronger compliances over here. So here is that actually like community cloud available for you, where I am ensuring that actually your regulatory requirement, whether it is an RBI or a SEBI or IRDA, you will take care of that particular thing. So an industry focus on that, which facilitate actually like ability for you to scale or to kind of maybe make it future proof and everything. So that's something like we are trying to achieve.
Yes, and you spoke about ISO Financial Cloud. I think it has been particularly, as you said, that it has been developed or built particularly for the financial industry. So yes, keeping in mind all the regulatory compliances, the requirements, and ensuring that you're adhering to all those norms. So yeah, I think that's actually a brilliant thing, particularly for the financial services industry, because
it is built for financial services industry, exclusively for that. The need for the financial services industry is entirely different. You cannot compare it with what is the requirement for a e-commerce player or somebody who is a manufacturing player. The priorities are different. The way financial service operates is entirely different. And naturally the priorities and the significant for the Indian economy is also, that's critical. So we understand that particular thing. Accordingly, we built that particular thing.
Yes, because yes, from the infrastructure perspective, yes, it needs to be even more foolproof when it comes to the financial services industry. So yes, that's actually something a very, very brilliant option for for anyone who's actually looking at a foolproof infrastructure perspective. So great. Thank you so much for your inputs, Ashish. And with that, we come to the end of our session. On that note, Mr. Agrawal, any last thoughts or best practices that you would like to share with our viewers?
Given the the way we are working on cloud technologies, and the apps, etc., it's high time that people are concerned about the security of their confidential information, etc., because everything is on mobile, and the data can be easily hacked, because of someone can intrude. So I think we need to be very concerned before sharing any details, or even when they are going on an app on the mobile, etc., whether they're coming out of it, and ensuring that all the security parameters are installed so that the data is secured.
Yes, security absolutely priority across all organizations, across all industries. Yes. Ashish, any last thoughts for our viewers?
Okay, so viewers specifically like who is coming from the ICT industry, it's a transformation that has happened. The technology from more of like a enabler or a supporting function, it has transformed to kind of maybe a differentiator, and now it is more of like a disruptor. So now situation has come actually like where none of the organization can operate without technology and
absolutely.
Yeah. So that way, like I feel that it's a great time for the industry to kind of take that particular momentum going on, and none of the technology factors should be like a limiting factor for your overall growth. And keep looking forward, and keep on actually like investing on the right kind of platforms, and keep on investing on the right kind of partners, so that you make sure that you're completely future proof.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you so much. So with that, we'd like to conclude our session. Thank you so much. It was really, really great having both of you. And it was a very, very informative session.